All right, let's just jump right in. Today, we're taking a journey through the sprawling world of software delivery. We're going to take you all the way from the absolute micro level, those individual, daily technical tools, straight up to the macro level of elite organizational culture. If you've ever wondered how the best teams on the planet build, ship, and maintain software without completely burning out their engineers, well, you are definitely in the right place. So let's kick things off with a pretty critical question. What actually separates a trendy tech buzzword from a statistically proven methodology? Because, let's be honest, every single decade has its flavor of the month software framework. But DevOps, it's genuinely stood the test of time. Today, we're going to look at the hard data to separate the fleeting software hype from the statistically backed reality of true elite performance. Here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with the DevOps 2026 roadmap, then move on to mastering foundational tools and looking at the traits of elite performers. After that, we'll cover scaling the culture, building SRE teams, and wrap up with validating your expertise.
Okay, Section 1, the DevOps 2026 roadmap and your step-by-step path.
If you're looking for concrete things to try and practical skills to start building today, here is your blueprint. Becoming a DevOps engineer is a really structured, step-by-step process. Step 1 is all about foundational programming. Think languages like Python or Go, right alongside mastering operating systems, specifically Linux. Then, Step 2 builds on that base by advancing into complex networking protocols and security. You have to understand how data moves before you can protect it. Finally, Step 3 introduces the automation layer, your CI/CD pipelines and container orchestration tools like Kubernetes. But remember, you absolutely cannot jump to Step 3 without mastering Step 1 first.
Moving right along to Section 2, mastering foundational tools and controlling your source code. Look, before we can even think about automating infrastructure, we have to master the most fundamental tool of the trade, Git. And a really specific aspect of this you need to grasp is the stage, sometimes called the index. Think of the stage as, think of it like a vital holding area or a buffer between your working directory and your permanent project history. It's the place where you carefully assemble exactly what you want to save before you officially commit it to the record. To actually use that stage, you've got to internalize this core Git workflow. It's basically 4 fundamental commands that give you total control. You use git add to copy your changed files to that staging area. Then, when you're completely ready, git commit saves that snapshot permanently. But hey, if you make a mistake, and we all do, git reset is your lifesaver. It unstages files, acting as a crucial undo button. And git checkout lets you pull files from the stage right back into your working directory. Getting hands-on and trying out these commands is literally the very first thing you should do on your journey. All right, zooming out a bit to Section 3, traits of elite performers, drawing directly from the DORA Accelerate findings. Now, you absolutely have to see this number, 24 times. To put that into perspective, the DORA research analyzed over 31,000 survey responses across 6 whole years. And what did they find? The highest performing teams are literally 24 times more likely to execute on all 5 core capabilities of cloud computing compared to low performers. It's not just about casually using the cloud, it's about squeezing every ounce of potential out of it.
I really love the visual style of these hot air balloons here because it perfectly captures the concept. Shifting from rigid, heavy on-premise setups to loosely coupled cloud architectures allows organizations to just lift off and scale rapidly. When your architecture is loosely coupled like this, individual teams can innovate, deploy, and scale their own specific services without bringing the entire system crashing down or waiting around for other departments. It is a massive game changer for speed. But look, speed means absolutely nothing if you're just going to crash, right? A definitive trait of elite performers is abandoning those universally dreaded heavyweight change approval boards, or CABs. The data absolutely confirms what engineers have suspected for years. These bureaucratic bottlenecks literally slow things down and actually hurt stability. Elite teams, on the other hand, use a clear change process. It's understood, it's often automated, and it drives stability while dramatically reducing team burnout. Which leads us to Section 4. Scaling the culture and making DevOps sustainable.
So how do we actually take these elite practices and scale them across massive enterprises without breaking the system or completely burning everyone out? Interestingly, the answer isn't some shiny new software tool. It's a psychological one. Drawing from Google's Project Aristotle, we see that scaling demands a culture of psychological safety, meaning team members have to feel safe to take risks and admit mistakes without the fear of being punished. The data proves, without a doubt, that psychological safety is highly predictive of overall software delivery and organizational productivity. High performers don't just hope for this safe community, they actively build it through structured scaling strategies. Instead of a top-down mandate, they create immersive dojo training centers where teams can learn safely. They build communities of practice that cross departmental lines. And they use proof of concepts as seeds, planting a highly successful team inside a larger org to spread knowledge naturally, or they use them as templates for others to replicate. It's brilliant because these structural solutions are incredibly resilient to organizational changes. Moving on to Section 5, building SRE teams and embracing failure to ensure reliability. To maintain that massive scale and high availability, elite organizations rely on site reliability engineering. But SRE requires a major paradigm shift. Google's Kripa Krishnan really hits the nail on the head with this quote. She points out that an organization must first accept that system and process failures are just inevitable. Things are going to break. And when they do, a true SRE culture embraces those failures as vital learning opportunities. The whole focus shifts away from finding someone to blame and entirely toward fixing the system. So how do they actually capture those lessons without pointing fingers? Well, they take a surprisingly narrative approach. SRE trainers use the meta technique of storytelling. Because systems break in totally novel and interesting ways, teams frame these failures as engaging narratives. I mean, think about it. Human brains are wired for stories. By turning an outage into a story, you build a collective memory and a shared vocabulary, keeping those hard-won lessons alive for the next generation of hires. And then, that shared vocabulary gets formally codified into playbooks or runbooks. A playbook basically takes the lessons learned from all those stories and turns them into actionable step-by-step documentation. So when that exact same outage happens again at 3 a.m., a brand new SRE hire doesn't have to panic. They have an immediate, consistent, and completely safe procedure to follow to get everything back online.
Finally, Section 6, validating your expertise and cementing your elite status.
After journeying from micro tools like Git all the way to macro concepts like SRE culture, a fantastic thing to try next is officially proving your expertise. You can prove your ability to balance service reliability with pure delivery speed by going after credentials like the Professional Cloud DevOps Engineer certification. Leveraging hands-on labs and deep dive courses, like the ones on Google Skills, gives you the perfect environment to solidify everything we've covered today. It's how you turn these abstract concepts into real, tangible career growth. Which brings us to our final thought for the day. DevOps is clearly, undeniably, not just a passing trend. The data shows it's the proven standard for software development that improves not just a company's bottom line, but our actual day-to-day quality of life as engineers. The roadmap is laid out for you, the tools are accessible, and building a culture of psychological safety is completely within reach. So, what specific steps are you going to take today to start your journey toward elite performance?